Okay, hey guys, welcome back to another video. So today, I'm going to probably move my phone to where I could actually move it upwards. I don't think I'm going to have any more pictures in here. There's really not any more pictures, but I will describe what the maps look like whenever there are maps. But today, we are reading Delilah's Adventures again, and I'm going to start reading from the very beginning. Hope you all enjoy. Have a nice day, and let's get to it. Alright, so chapter 6. It's been a few days, and I've started working on one of the cars nearby. It wasn't too hard to figure out how to work a car at all for me, since my dad was a mechanic. I've also helped with bandaging up Lewis's leg. I know how to clean and properly take care of injuries like that due to my mom being a doctor. Sighed softly as I rubbed my forehead. So how's the car doing? Francis yelled from the bridge. It's going good, I yelled back. That's good, he said, yelling. I giggled and saw Lewis leaning on the rail, smiling down at me. I waved at him. Francis and Zoe aren't wrong about me having a connection with Lewis. Feels like me and Lewis get along like a couple does. How's your leg doing? I yelled to him. It's getting better thanks to your help, he said back, and I smiled. I just love helping people. Once it gets nightfall, I head back to the bridge. I decided to sit down by Lewis and check his wounds. How are you feeling, Del? Lewis asked, looking at me. I'm feeling fine, Lewis. How about you? I asked him, smiling softly. I'm feeling fine. You know, if I could find a needle and thread, I could stitch up your leg, which will help it heal faster, I said, cleaning his wound. I figured you'd say that. Zoe found a needle in Bill's pocket, and you can use some loose thread from my shirt. I'm sure this thread is long enough. Well, that's fine, but shirt's fabric is too thin, and I need stronger string than that. So maybe the loose thread from your jeans will work, I said softly. Now, by the way, the needle that was found in Bill's pocket is like the needles you guys would use in sewing needles, like those kind of needles. That's the kind of needle that it is. It's a sewing needle. Why? Because just in case you need to stitch up something, you have a sewing needle with you, just in case you need to stitch something up. Okay, but continuing on. He nodded and let me take some of the thread from his jeans to make the stitches. He did make a few noises because of the pain, but I assured Zoe and Francis that Lewis and I were all right. When I was done, I bandaged his leg back up. I'm glad I can help you, Lewis, I said, smiling. I leaned against him. I'm glad you can too, he said with a smile. I felt him kiss my head. I blushed and looked up at him. Did you just kiss my head? I asked. Yeah, is that a problem? He asked, looking in my eyes. Why does it say that so weird? Looking me in the eyes. That's what it's supposed to say. Why is there a Y there? I don't know. I'll fix that later. Some things are just like messed up and it bugs me, but whatever. No, it's not a problem. I am just surprised, I said, looking down. Cupped my chin and made me look at him. Delilah, I'll be honest. I think you're really cute. So I blushed more and looked to my side. I think you're cute too, said softly. I saw him smile. Well, now we know each other's feelings for each other, he said, smiling. I nodded shyly. I kissed his cheek and closed my eyes, laying my head on his shoulder. Going to sleep already? He asked. I nodded, falling asleep a moment later. Chapter 7. I sighed softly and wiped my forehead. I made a little area to do a cremation without everyone else knowing. I was going to cremate Bill's body so they could keep him with them when we move. I found 3 little glass bottles with quartz, and I connected the glass bottles to necklaces. I know they probably aren't going to wear them, but I know they are going to keep them in their pockets. Hey, what are you doing? I heard a voice say. I looked around and saw nothing. Bill, if this is your spirit, hey, I'm making an area to cremate your body so your friends still have you with them. They miss you a lot. I said softly, great, now it seems like I'm crazy. Thank you. I know that those three miss me a lot. I hope they are doing fine. How's Zoe doing? She's the one that I worried about the most. Zoe is doing fine. Why are you so worried about her compared to the others? I asked, looking towards where the voice was coming from. Because she lost her mom and dad on the same day. You see, an infected came into their house and turned her mom. Before her mom was killed by her dad, she badly injured him and he was immune, so their death was the worst thing that could have happened to that girl. Hey, are you crying? He asked me after noticing the tears going down my face. Yeah, just thinking about my past. I lost my parents kind of in a similar way. Only difference is, they were gunned down trying to protect me. I was about 5 at the time, and my mom, dad, and I were all in a military compound, and one of the military guys threatened to kill me because I looked like an infected. My mom and dad didn't want that, so they snuck me out of the compound. Shortly after they did, I saw bullets fly into them. My mom told me to run, which I did. It was just so hard for me those first few days. I had to be careful of any special infected. I don't know why it says infected. I explained to Bill. I know if he could cry and hug me, he would do so. I'm so sorry that happened to you, but I know it must have been hard for you. I know I can't relate to what happened to you or Zoe, but I can tell you that I am sorry that it happened, and I hope life gets better for you, Bill said. I knew he had a small smile on his ghostly face. Why does it say her there? On his ghostly face. Thanks, Bill. I should get back to work. I said, looking towards his body. Alright, just be careful now. Good luck, and tell Zoe that I'm watching over her and the rest of the gang. He said with that small smile. I nodded. Don't worry, I will. I said, going back to work. Chapter 8. I sighed softly as I was laying in bed thinking. Zoe and Francis had gone out to get food with Louis and me staying here at the place. They didn't go too far, but still they should be careful. I told Zoe about what happened with Bill's spirit and she started crying. I didn't know her backstory until Bill told me. It must have hurt as much as it did hurt me. Hey, Louis? Max looking at Louis. He was keeping guard while I rested. Yeah, what is it? He asked, looking at me. I heard about Zoe's family from Bill's spirit. I feel so bad for her. She lost her parents in a kind of similar way that I did. How'd you lose your parents? Louis asked, looking at me. Well, they were shot in front of me, trying to save me. The military camp we were staying at, there was someone who wanted to kill me. My parents didn't want that, so they broke me out of there. When they did, they got shot. I had said, looking back at him. He quickly looked around, then walked over to me and hugged me. I'm sorry that happened to you. He said, holding me tightly. I blushed at this, but hugged him back. I wasn't expecting him to hug me like that. The reason why I wasn't expecting him to hug me like that is because I never thought that I would have someone who cared as much as he does about me. People always think I'm a carrier, which I'm not, I said softly. Same for me, Francis, and Zoe. Bill was a carrier and he risked his life so we could live happily. We've had enough of the military, but I want my new friends to be safe. Lou said, pulling away from the hug. I wish I could show you what I've been working on, but I'm worried for your leg. I said, sighing. He put his hand on my shoulder. Don't worry about it. You've helped it so much. You helped it feel so much better, and now I can walk around a lot more. I want to see the secret thing you've been working on, he said with a soft smile. I nodded and got up, helping him up. Then we headed over to where I had the machine I was going to use to cremate Bill. I thought if we left, we should take Bill with us, but as the ashes. I said softly. Lewis hugged me gently and kissed my head. You're really sweet for thinking about this. I'm sure the others will love this idea. Do you want my help with it? He asked. Only if you want to. Help? I think I'm fine on my own, though. It's almost done, just need a few more materials. I stood looking at Bill's body. I could feel Bill's ghost smiling at me. He knew that I cared about Francis, Zoe, and Lewis. He knew that I had a tiny crush on Lewis, which I'm glad that Lewis cares for me in the same way. Lewis? I asked, looking up at him. Yes, Delilah? He asked, looking me in the eyes. I leaned in and pressed my lips against his. My eyes were closed, so I couldn't tell if he was looking at me or if he was surprised. All I knew was that he was enjoying the kiss as much as I was. Chapter 9. It's been a couple of weeks since the kiss Lewis and I shared, and to be honest, I couldn't be happier. Lewis really did feel the same about me, and he told me after we pulled away from the kiss that he really enjoyed it. Lewis! Zoe called out from the building we were all staying in. Lewis and I were down by the car I was working on when she called to us. Yes, Zoe? Lewis yelled back to her. How's the car going? Zoe asked. It's going smoothly. It should be ready in a few days, I said to her. She smiled down at us. I smiled back up at her. Yeah, I am so bad at talking today. After I stopped working on the car for today, I went over to the machine I made to cremate Bill with Lewis following me. You want me to help with putting Bill's body in the machine? Lewis asked, looking at Bill's body. Yeah, I may be strong, but I don't think I'm strong enough to pick him up, I said with a light-hearted giggle. Lewis gave me a smile and then walked over to Bill's body. Today was the day we were cremating him. Since we'll be leaving soon, we had to do it as soon as possible. Lewis brought Bill's body over to the machine. When he did, I saw Bill's spirit standing behind him. Delilah, was it? Bill asked, looking at me. I saw Lewis's face turn to a shocked expression. I nodded, looking at Bill's spirit. When you cremate my body, I will pass to the next realm. I will miss seeing you all. Can you guys tell Zoe that I will say hi to her dad and mom? Bill looked at us. I nodded softly. We will make sure to tell her. Care to say anything to Lewis? I asked politely. Take care of everyone, Lewis. I know your leg is in bad shape, but make sure everyone stays positive. You are always good at that. And tell Francis not to get in any trouble. Bill said with a small chuckle at the end. I chuckled lightly. We will make sure he stays out of trouble, Lewis said, smiling, and I'll make sure to keep things positive. He finished prepping the body. I will keep watching over you four. Be safe from now on. I think that second group you guys met will still be there at the carnival, but you best hurry, Bill said right before he disappeared. We nodded to each other and started the cremation. Once it was done, we put some of the ashes into the bottles. I had the rest of the ashes gathered into a jar and walked over to where Bill's body used to be. I grabbed the gun he had. It was a commando. I didn't have a gun type really, but I think Zoe should keep the gun. Lewis, do you think we should give Zoe the gun that Bill had as well? Yeah, let's give it to her. On the day we're leaving, we're throwing out the extra ashes and letting them fly with the wind? Lewis nodded. I nodded. Chapter 10. This is going to be on the third level of Dark Carnival. Which the third level of Dark Carnival, what you have to do is you have to go through the Tunnel of Love, which, as you guys heard when I had the characters all at the end of the second level, they were sitting in the safe room to start the third level, which is where they're just sitting in a Dark Carnival's Tunnel of Love, like safe room area. They're just sitting there talking, all this stuff. Well, when this is going on, they end up meeting them back in that area, and they are going through this level, through the Tunnel of Love level, basically. And in the Tunnel of Love, you have to, once you get past the Tunnel of Love, you have to go through the maintenance room, and you jump down through a hole, go through another little pathway, the Tunnel of Love. When you get out of there, you have the roller coaster you have to go ride on. You have to follow the coaster and ride on this, basically. Run down the coaster road. And once you get on to the other side of the coaster, you're supposed to shut it off. You don't have to shut it off. You can actually skip past that in the game. But you basically have to turn it off and then rush to the safe room as quick as you can, because you have a horde of zombies coming after you. But I'm going to continue on with the story. Chapter 10. It was the day we were leaving, and we were up on the bridge with the big jar of ashes. I made sure we were facing the way that the wind was going. All four of us were there. Are you sure you want to throw the ashes into the air, Zoe? Francis asked, looking down at her. Zoe nodded. He was like a second dad to me. I want to release the ashes. I handed Zoe the jar, which already had the lid off. All she had to do was aim it in the direction the wind's going. She then threw the jar into the air, the ashes flying with the wind. We watched as the ashes flew away. Once all the extra ashes were scattered by the wind, we walked back over to the house and gathered our things. Let's hurry there, I said when we got into the car. I was in the driver's seat. Where are we even going? Francis asked. Whispering Oaks, I said, pushing on the gas as soon as we faced the direction I came from 2 months ago. I drove us to where Jimmy Gibbs' car was parked when I met Ellis and his group. We can't drive any further, sadly. We'll be walking and running the rest of the way, I said sadly. Francis groaned. I hate walking. You hate everything, Francis, Zoe teased. We walked to the Tunnel of Love without worry. On this note, they walked through the first 2 levels without a problem. When we did get to the Tunnel of Love, we saw them. Ellis! Open the door! I yelled. Ellis saw us and ran over to the door. He unlocked it and let us in. How did you guys get here? Ellis asked. His eyes were locked on Zoe, though. I drove us here, I said, looking at him. Lewis closed and locked the door behind us. Well, we haven't been really able to leave this safe room for a while. There's a witch right outside the door into the Tunnel of Love, Nick said, hissing a bit. The one with the shotgun can kill her really fast if they aim at her back. Witches are weak when it comes to their backs, I said, looking towards our exit door. Nick had a shotgun, specifically the only shotgun that can kill her. The combat shotgun. I'll kill the bitch, Nick said, walking to the door. And also, this is playing on realism mode, in a way. Now, in realism mode, witches are instant kills. They will kill you instantly. This is also being played with, in this story, tanks only have up to 4,000 HP. So, basically, normal mode tanks in the game. Because normal mode tanks only have up to 4,000 HP. And witches have 1,000 HP no matter what mode it is. And in realism, they do instant kills. Expert mode, they will just instantly down you. And these, they will instantly kill you. So, they have to be very careful when getting rid of the witches. They have to be very careful about where the witches are. But let's just continue on. He opened the door and the witch, his back was right there. He shot her 2 times and she fell down dead. Nick closed the door when the horde came running at him. Nick got out of the way of the door and we all shot at the door. Once the horde was gone, we walked through the tunnel of love and out to the Screaming Oak. That's a roller coaster. That is the roller coaster you're running on. We had to run on the coaster in order to get to the next safe room because the fences were too high for us to climb. When we got to the safe room, I closed the door. We're safe. For now. And so I will get to reading the next... actually, you know what? I'm gonna read this chapter, and then I am going to stop it there after I read this one. And this is on the 4th level. In the 4th level, you basically are having to do a couple things. First off, you have to run through the fairgrounds, through the second half of the fairgrounds. Which in this level, if you're right before the stadium, you have to get to the stadium without getting killed at all. You have to get to the stadium. And when you get to the stadium, right before you do, there is this little thing you have to go by. Which, when you trigger it, it will cause a horde of zombies to come. But I'm not having that there because I'm like, I don't want to have them summon a fucking horde. So I just kind of skipped that part. So you get to see the stage access area in a little bit. You get to see that, and then... because I kind of skip over that other part. But when they're there, there's a huge fence area. Here, let me move my phone and I'll show you. Let me move my phone up here. This area right here, this is where they are jumping over the fence at. This area. Right there is the stadium, and that's where they're going. So I would let you all know that very quickly. So I'm going to put my phone back down, but I just thought I would let you all know that. So, Chapter 11. I looked at Lewis as we were getting ready to leave the safe room. I need to clean your stitches. Sit down and let me do so. I said, looking at him. Lewis did so, and I grabbed a wet rag and started cleaning his wound. After I did so, I bandaged up his wound again. Then we headed to the door of the safe room. We heard a smoker and a witch nearby. I think I hear my ex-wife. Kill your lights, Nick said. I saw where the witch was. Let's go this way. We'll have to climb over that fence there to avoid her unless Nick wants to kill her again and cause a horde. I said, leading the group over to the fence I was talking about. We were by the stage access doors. I'd rather climb the fence than summon a horde, Ellis said. I nodded and climbed over the fence, followed by everyone else. Francis had to help Lewis get down since it would hurt his leg if he jumped off of there. We walked into the safe room that was in the stage access room. Once we all got in, I closed the door. We are the kings of the world! Ellis yelled happily. And then inside the stadium, it's basically called the concert level. And you guys will basically, if you actually ever played the game, in the game there's a little thing at the end of every campaign where it'll say like the survivors have escaped. It'll list off the survivors, how many deaths they had, how many total infected they killed of each one. It'll also list off like who played as them. So it's kind of interesting, but I'm not doing that part, but I'm just doing the survivors listing. Alright. And also how many zombies was totally killed. But let's just continue on. I still don't like you, Francis, but I'll deal with you like I deal with Ellis, Nick said. I saw Francis roll his eyes. You're stuck with us until we get separated, Francis said with a cheeky smile. I sighed softly as we head towards the stage. I have no idea how we can signal. I have an idea. I know how we can signal that chopper. I don't know why I said I have no idea. I have an idea. I know how we can signal that chopper. First we look for supplies. Then we start the Midnight Riders finale. They got all kinds of fireworks, smoke lights, and shit. That chopper pilot can't miss it. Coach says we reach the stage. He actually says that line in the safe room, but for the sake of the story, he says it as they get to the stage. Coach, that's a brilliant idea. I said with a smile. Coach smiled back. Ellis, are you ready to rock? I was born ready, so yes. Ellis said. Zoe and I both giggled at Ellis's excitement. We set up the concert and fought off the horde that came after we started it. It took a bit for the chopper to come, and when he did, we all got into the helicopter and we all flew off. The survivors have escaped. Survivors: Ellis, Zoe, Lewis, Francis, Delilah, Coach, Michelle, Nick. 50,000 zombies were honed in the making of this film. That is how each one of the campaigns end. Now, the next one, I'll say this will be chapter 12 the next time when we read it. And the map that we are going to be doing will be Swamp Fever level 1. And in Swamp Fever, you're basically having to go through a swamp. And Nick immensely hates it. Nick is the only one who really, really hates it. About everyone else, Nick is the one of the second group of survivors that immensely hates it. So, I thought I would let you all know that. But we'll continue this series next week on Sunday. Stay tuned. Hope you all have a great day. And peace out, everybody. Make sure you guys know that Outcast Sig here loves you all. And you're all amazing little outcasts.